Good evening. First tonight, charities in Devon say the council will be doubling the number of rough sleepers if it withdraws funding for its homelessness prevention scheme.
The council has been discussing plans to axe £1.5 million worth of support for charities which place people in temporary accommodation. In a moment, we'll cross to Bob Cruz, who's been at the council meeting. But first, let's hear from two people who say their lives wouldn't be the same without the council funding.
Georgia and Poppy are both getting help with accommodation from the YMCA in Exeter. Georgia found herself struggling after graduating from university last year. Poppy has spent time sofa surfing in the past. Without the support they've received, they both say life would be very different.
I was very unwell, I was very vulnerable, emotionally, physically. And you know, in the past I've ended up in some vulnerable situations where I've not known where to go. So I think it's really important that we, you know, as a preventative measure, that there is accommodation to avoid people like myself going into vulnerable situations that they may not even want to go there. It's just out of desperation.
I feel very blessed to have this accommodation to live in, you know, especially as I have experienced being on the brink of homelessness, and just seeing a glimpse of what that could be like terrified me, and I can't imagine living in it for however long because of what's going on financially and with the economy and everything like that. Finding a place like this has actually given me a lot of stability and security.
Charities like the YMCA, which receive this funding, say that cutting it off would be short-sighted.
There's a huge amount of evidence to show that homeless prevention saves money from all costs that are associated with the council. For adult social care, children's services, the police, A&E, I mean, name a service, homeless prevention probably saves you money in that area. So to take money away from this is just ridiculous. It will cost, undoubtedly, more in the long run.
The YMCA receives £157,000 a year from Devon County Council's homelessness prevention scheme. Losing that, they say, would have an impact on their whole service.
Well, Bob joins us from County Hall in Exeter. Bob, what's been said today?
Well, the meeting began with some impassioned statements from representatives of some of the charities that have benefited from this funding in the past, and also some members of the public with direct personal experience of using these services. One woman who explained that were it not for the support she's received, she would not be here today. Lives, she said, are being put at risk by this. And a man who described how he was taken in by one of these charities, which helped him to turn his life around, kick his addictions. He now volunteers for that charity and sees people in crisis every day. I beg you not to take away this funding, he said. Ultimately, it'll be up to the council cabinet to make the decision on this in September. This was a scrutiny committee meeting designed to give overview advice to the cabinet. The recommendation will be to continue with the funding at least until the end of this financial year. I've got a statement from the Deputy Leader of Devon County Council, James McInnes, who's responsible for adult social care. He says, "We fully understand that homelessness is a blight on people's lives, particularly among younger people and others who need support, and that this is a real issue for all authorities, locally and nationally. No decision," he says, "has yet been made, and we're continuing to engage with district councils to explore all the interdependencies between housing and social care, particularly for our care leavers and other young people." Councillor James McInnes was in the room today. He said he knows he's not popular because of this, but he said, I'm not here to be popular. He said, I'm here to make sense of the finances.
OK, Bob Cruz, thank you very much.
On to other news.